That's right. It's your Joe's back again. Our Thursday show. Dave, how you doing, man?
Doing good, man. Doing good. How are you?
I'm getting along. Listen, folks, we got to get through this. We want to get through this Thursday show as quickly as possible, so no extras, not even doing the music. We're just going to jump right in. Few housekeeping things. We do want to thank you guys once again for your support. Thank you guys for coming and listening and taking time out of your day. We certainly do appreciate it. Again, it will mean the world to us if you guys would just like, subscribe, and comment. Certainly leave your comments, especially to the question of the week. We would definitely appreciate it, and we will be responsive to those comments. And also want to thank the people behind the scenes who are pushing and getting the word out on the videos and the podcast. We appreciate you guys as well. Quickly, we'll mention that you can visit us online, Instagram, Average Joe's Fantasy Football. There is an underscore between each word, and on Facebook at the Average Joe's Fantasy Football podcast, you can find us there as well. And again, during the games, typically we're commenting and answering questions, things of that nature. Um, Before we get into the actual answering the question of the day, I wanted to mention this. Dave, do you know the brand of chips called Hers? Herrs?
No, I never heard of that.
Okay, not sure if it's in your neck of the woods, but they got this, and we're not getting paid for this. This is not a sponsor. We don't get a dime from it, but I just got to mention it. They have these chips called Creamy Ranch Habanero. They are delicious, and you have to go online and Google these things. As a matter of fact, that's what we're going to do. The person who answers the question of the week correctly first, I am going to mail you a bag of these creamy ranch. I had some today, and man, I could have spent all my money on my credit card for this. It was so good. I think God leaves us little pieces of heaven on earth. Fantasy football, pizza, hot wings, and these Hers Creamy Ranch Habanero. You have to have some. We'll mail you guys out. The first person to answer the question of the week correctly, be looking for a bag of that. Speaking of, Dave, go ahead and give the listeners. We had no one to get it correct for last week. Let's go ahead and give the listeners the answer to the question of the week. And please come back on the Tuesday show. We tape it on Monday. It'll be out on Tuesday for the new question of the week. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, so the question was, in PPR, I'm a top three in yards, receptions, and fantasy points, and the receiver was Adam Thielen. He is currently
Yep.
number one in fantasy points, number two in yards, and number two in receptions.
Yep.
So Adam Thielen.
Adam Thielen is tearing it up, and I'm glad I have him on one of my squads. I think we were talking before, Dave. I told you that he was one of my draft targets, and as the draft season was going on, all the hype kind of switched to Diggs, who's also having a great season, and I kind of took him off my radar, and I really wish I would have went after him in more leagues. He is absolutely just tearing it up this year, man.
Yeah, no, he definitely is. I wish I would have actually had him on my radar. I was somewhat avoiding the Vikings as a whole because I just didn't think, just like the Rams, I didn't think it was going to be enough going around. So, yeah, I wish I would have got more shares.
Well, here's the big problem. I got a bet with a guy in one of our fantasy chats that Julio Jones would have more fantasy points per game than Adam Thielen because he really was a Thielen fan. I didn't even think it was going to be close. I was like, man, it's easy. So he gets to pick my profile picture for a month if at the end of the season. So it could be something crazy. I'll let you guys know what it is. Hopefully Julio comes around and catches a couple of touchdowns, but Thielen looks, man, almost unstoppable. Like, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 receptions a game. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. It's out of this world. Yeah, it's ridiculous. He might have a crazy picture, man.
Yeah, I hope it's nothing crazy. Anyhow, let's go ahead and jump into the show. So what we're gonna do, everybody out there listening, on Thursdays now we're gonna try to preview the week coming up for Sunday, and on Mondays we're going to preview the game for Thursday, so the information isn't outdated. So be on the lookout for that, along with some of the segments that we do. So tonight we're going to talk about the Colts and the Pats. We talk about the Jags and the Chiefs, the Falcons, Steelers, and a couple of other games as well. So let's jump right into the Colts and the Pats happening tonight. Who do you like here, man? I mean, there's a lot of storylines going on.
Yeah, I'm actually excited to see what Zach Pascal does again this week. I'm not, saying anything about throwing him in there, but just something to look at with no T.Y. Hilton, no Jack Doyle, no Marlon Mack.
Yep.
So, Andrew Luck's rolling out there with Ryan Grant, Chester Rogers, and Zach Pascal. And last week, Zach had double-digit targets, so he had 13 targets, 8 catches, 77 yards, and a touchdown. Not expecting him to do that same volume, but, yeah, excited about him, excited about Julian Edelman's return. That's going to be great. Just him being on the field is going to open it up for Gronk. Excited about that. Excited to see what Josh Gordon does in the system as well. So, just excited to see these two teams out there and see how these offenses work.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting game on many fronts. And but the Colts their receiving core is underwhelming to say the least. A lot of people have been jumping on Nyheim Hines, who I was admittedly down on a bit because he couldn't seem to keep the ball in his hands during preseason, but he's shown to be an asset. Do you think that Robert Turbin, coming off a suspension here, you think he's going to muddle this backfield even more? Do you think someone's going to emerge as the guy, or?
I don't think anybody's emerging as the guy for this backfield personally. I think, with Turbin being back, that's another exciting thing to look at in this game to see what his usage is. Is he going to be just goal line? Is he going to be used in passing game? Like, what are we doing with him? And that was another thing for this game as far as T.Y. Hilton being out, the targets going to Nyheim Hines. I think the targets just increased to Eric Ebron right now. Just sticking with Hines and Turbin, this is just a game to kind of fiddle out, but I don't really want any parts of that Colts backfield just quite yet.
I got Ryan Grant on a couple of different fantasy squads, and I'm really, interested to see what's going to happen with him.
Love him.
Well, everybody said through the preseason, not the best athlete, but he just does his job well.
Right.
And I'm interested to see, does he take on that T.Y. Hilton role and get those targets? Last game, it didn't seem to, it didn't translate like you may have wanted. But I'm interested to see what he does. And I actually have to make a decision between him and Mohamed Sanu, and I'm torn. Who would you roll?
Oh, I might have to. I would go with Grant. Just short and sweet answer is going to be Grant. Just because the targets have to go somewhere and they're missing their big hitter. So and Grant's been getting a good amount of targets. I don't know if there's going to be a major uptick with Hilton down. Like I said, I think that's going to be for Ebron mainly. But I would roll out Grant over Sanu, even with the Steelers being what they are. I think we'll talk about that game in a minute. They got some people coming back from injuries. But, I would go with Grant over Sanu personally.
Okay, absolutely. I also got Jordy Nelson, but I'm thinking I'm going to cool it on Jordy Nelson this week and go ahead and give Grant a run. Hopefully he doesn't disappoint. And obviously, I'm running Edelman out there. I think he's just going to come stabilize the passing game for New England. I think Tom Brady's going to be very happy to see him back on the field. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next game. Let's go ahead and talk about the Jags and the Chiefs. First question, great defense versus a great offense. We know that Pat Mahomes came down to earth a little bit, but in comparison to your average quarterback, had a rushing touchdown, had a passing touchdown, no interceptions, 300 yards passing, pretty good game. Who do you think is going to win this one?
I am going to have to go with the Chiefs.
Me too.
I think they'll win this game. I think that offense is just phenomenal. I think they kind of Patrick Mahomes was finally able to get his first taste of what a pass rush is like. And we saw the effects of that in the first half with the Broncos. Him and Kelsey just couldn't get it together for the first half, and he was. I mean, and he wasn't really getting hit or tackled, but just the presence of it was kind of making him. And he was still making crazy plays. But I think going against Jacksonville, yes, that secondary is better. But I still see the Chiefs coming out on top. I actually see a huge game from Kelsey based off of what we saw with the Broncos, and we saw at the end of the game they were starting to click. They were starting to figure it out. I think that transition's huge over.
Excellent. Yeah, I think the same thing. I don't think the Jags offense can keep up with the Chiefs, even though the Chiefs defense is one of the worst in the league. And that should mean some fantasy points for some people. I think Yeldon's going to be a good play. All of a sudden, the Jags wide receiver core seems to be pretty legitimate, but that's also off of one game, so obviously you don't quite know what's going to happen there. I'm still hoping Keelan Cole is the man. If not, then got some work doing some teams because I have him starting in different places. But they should be able to move the ball against the Chiefs, but I don't think they're going to be able to keep up with these guys. Do you think Westbrook is going to be in the breakout this week again? Do you think he's a breakout candidate for the year?
I like him again this week. Not so far to say of the year quite yet, but I like Dede this week. I like Keelan this week. I like Blake this week. And that's just solely based off of the Chiefs defense. There's not anything that I'm loving about the Jaguars, like you just said. It's just solely based off. I think, especially with the Chiefs' high-powered offense, the Jaguars are gonna have to try to throw to stay in the game.
Yeah.
And that if there's a defense that the Jaguars could do it on, it would be the Chiefs. So I like the receivers, and I really like Hunt, especially if Watkins can't really go again, because Kareem Hunt he flashed last week against the Broncos. Got that old Kareem back. He was in the passing game a little more.
Yeah, so, I gotta disagree there. Last week, as you know, he was one of my starts of the week. And if you listen to me, you ended up with a pretty good game, 170 yards from scrimmage. Touchdown, you'll take that all day. But I got him sitting this week. I mean, you probably can't sit him. What I'm saying is temper expectations this week, because Jags defense is still legit. Even though they're not going to be able to completely stop, the Chiefs, I don't see them getting gashed on the ground.
Yeah, I don't completely disagree with you at all on that point. I mean, you have to look at that when you're talking about putting a running back against the Jaguars defense. I mean, that's something you have to look at. I just, with all the weapons that are out there, I just don't see. I feel like Kareem Hunt's going to give you a stable.
Okay,
a good floor in this game. Yeah. That's
I've seen a question out there, and I just knew this was going to happen. We're not going to run through this in 30 minutes. I've seen a question out there today on Tyreek Hill. Is it time to sell as high as you can on him, because it looks like the Chiefs' offense may be coming down to earth? They have some tape now on Mahomes. Maybe defenses are a little bit more prepared. Obviously, if Mahomes is not throwing 3-4 touchdowns a game, that's going to limit Tyreek Hill's usage. Do you think that it's time to possibly pump the brakes on Hill and get all you can now, or do you still think that Chiefs' offense is dynamic as ever?
No, I don't. And I wasn't a big fan on Tyreek Hill coming in, but don't trade him. He's not. He went against the Broncos pass rush, which didn't give Patrick Mahomes that much time to throw it downfield. He's going to go against that with the Jaguars as well. But Tyreek Hill still seeing targets. Is just the difference is the huge yardage isn't there because Patrick Mahomes isn't getting the time. But after the Jaguars, he's got the Patriots, which they can definitely do it on. Then he's got the Bengals, which they can definitely do it on. So I wouldn't say freak out quite yet on Tyreek.
Absolutely. Let's go ahead and move on to the next game here. Should be a lot of points to go around. Again, I think we mentioned to you before, put all your guys in there. Falcons and the Steelers. Big game. We got some changing things though happening with Freeman seemingly coming back this week. What are you doing with Coleman?
Oh, that is I'm actually I'm in a weird position. To be honest, I know we say with these kind of games start everybody.
Yeah.
For me, I'm not starting running backs on either side. I think this is going to be through the air. We're getting downfield. We're flying. All this stuff. If I had to start a running back, I'm not starting Connor either, because what I've seen. Connor's been putting in solid games, but what I've seen through these last couple of games where Ben Roethlisberger is throwing the ball 30-something times or above, is Connor kind of gets phased out. And it's not even that we're dumping down necessarily to Connor. We're actually seeing passes going around Switzer. We're seeing, we're seeing that type of thing. And I don't think that's going to necessarily change in this game with the Falcons. It's going to be more throwing and tossing downfield. If I had to start a running back in this game, it would be Tevin Coleman for me, just because of the fact that it's Freeman's first game back. I don't know how he's going to do. And like I just talked about Connor. So Coleman would be my start if I was picking one, but I don't necessarily want to go with any running back.
Okay. So Freeman versus Coleman, you're going Coleman.
Just for this first game, just to see what Freeman is going to do. I don't know if he's going to, you don't know if he's going to be on pitch count for the game. We don't know. So just to see.
Okay. If you're the Falcons, are you double teaming Juju or AB?
If I'm the Falcons, I am trying to get a rush, because you can't. I don't think
they have such a thing for the Steelers. I don't think there's such a thing. So.
Yeah, like that's what it's like. I don't think the Falcons don't have they don't have a choice to double team anybody. They don't have the pieces. They don't, and vice versa. The Steelers don't have. The Steelers are getting Morgan Burnett back this week. Supposedly he's practicing this week, and Mike Hilton, also their slot corner that had some speed. You saw him against the 2 weeks ago in that game, so he's coming back. But yeah, if I had to choose, if I was sitting there and I was Dan Quinn, I was like, look, we got to double team somebody.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm going to double team Antonio Brown. But I just, everybody's having a big game. The receivers, everybody's going crazy.
Right. So you're thinking again another game for Juju then.
Yeah. Yardage wise, yeah, I think Juju gets a lot of yards. I like Juju. I like both tight ends this week for the Steelers. Obviously, I'm not saying start Jesse James over your normal tight end, but I do like Vance a lot. I'm actually going to have to start Jesse because my tight ends are weak in one league, but I'm not upset with starting Jesse this week just because I think
Jesse James, the tight end behind Vance McDonald.
Yes, Jesse James.
I think we're in that league together. I was going to offer you Cook. I was going to offer you Cook, and I looked at your team. I was like, you also need a running back in that. We're going to
I need a lot.
Yeah, we're going to talk in that league. I don't know, but it's going to cost you. It ain't cheap, but we can make you better.
Oh, yeah, I know it.
Yeah. Good deal. Okay. All right. Good. Yeah, that's another game, again, to get all your receivers in there. I'd be willing to start Freeman. I'd be willing to start Connor. You mean a lot of times we're not going to have any choice. And again, the Steelers passing game is kind of ending up being one of these prolific passing offenses where you can't guard everybody. You got to pick your poison. Do you want Juju or AB? So we'll see how that goes, but you'll have all those guys in there. Let's go ahead and talk about the Chargers and the Raiders. Keenan Allen, a Friends round 1 pick, high-end round 2 pick, a guy that at the beginning of the season I said I need to see one more year out of him before I call him elite, has been, we use underwhelming a lot, hasn't been good.
Yeah.
And now he started off slow last season as well and really picked it up the second half of the year, but this is really slow. Do you think teams have figured it out? Do you think he's just not the same? Hurt? What's going on there?
I think Keenan. I think right now it's the Melvin Gordon, Austin Eckler situation right now. They're both going out of control, and we've seen the Vikings been able to kind of feed everybody, especially the Rams. And maybe the Chargers just aren't one of those teams that can necessarily feed every single person on the team.
They did last year, though. I mean, Allen was good, and Melvin Gordon was good, and Eckler, he may not have gotten the ball quite as much, but he was good. You know, he was solid last year as sometimes he
Right.
flex. Now Eckler's getting a little bit more run, but do you think that's enough to completely take away from Allen?
No, I don't. I do think that even though Travis Benjamin isn't, he's not a huge part of offense or not even an impact in fantasy, I think his ability to stretch the field opened it a lot for Keenan.
Yeah.
And Travis being out this year and being hurt and not being very reliable is hurting Keenan and is not really helping Keenan get open. So I attribute it more to the weapons around him than I do necessarily Keenan.
Well, a lot of people are pretty high on Mike Williams, and he kind of serves that role as well. You would think that he would still have those opportunities underneath. I'm not quite sure what's going on. I just don't think he's getting perhaps open or maybe the targets this year. I don't know, but yeah, the Chargers running backs are just balling out of control. You got to get you some Melvin Gordon out there. You and I traded for Melvin Gordon, and maybe perhaps now the people who were basically booing me and asking me was I trying to throw the season, now they see why I wanted this guy on my team so very badly. Do you think because again, this is before everything said, we drafted pretty doggone early, and Jordan Matthews was on the Patriots, and I just kept coming back to you. Had I pushed it, could I have gotten Melvin Gordon for McCoy, Jordan Matthews, and my first and my second without throwing Sanders in there? Could I? Do you think you would have given me him for that?
No.
This is back when we thought Jordan Matthews was going to be something on the Patriots.
Yeah. No, because to be honest with you, when that whole Jordan Matthews situation, and I'll make this quick, that Jordan Matthews situation, being an Eagles fan, I saw Jordan Matthews do really well with us, and I thought his best days were kind of behind him.
Okay.
I didn't know if going really to the Patriots was going to make a big deal. So for me, with our trade, more than the fact that every time I said no, you came back either the next day or the next hour, more than that, it was the fact that I looked at it and I said, you know what, in the past, Melvin Gordon has his good games, and then he kind of falls off, or he gets hurt, or this happens, or the coaching staff just doesn't continue to feed him. So maybe that'll happen again, and I'm getting a lot that's going to help me in the future as well. I got draft picks and everything. So I was like, you know what? I think I've gotten to the point where I have to do this. It definitely was, and I still don't necessarily regret it. I will say this: if Joe Mixon doesn't come back and be the running back that I'm hoping he is, I will regret it. But if I can get a good Joe Mixon back, I won't be too upset.
Yeah, no. You definitely got to set up for the future here coming up next year, and you certainly have Sanders, who's having a decent season, kind of start off a lot faster than he's been the last couple of games. But you got a solid haul there. And then no one knew McCoy was going to be quite this ineffective.
Terrible.
We really thought you could look at it and think McCoy and Melvin Gordon were only going to be separated by a little bit, and then you're getting the rest of what you got. Why not? So, yeah, it's even. It's probably pretty even right now. Howard, I just kind of want to know if I could have kept Sanders. That'd have been, I'd have been sick.
You don't need Sanders.
Yeah, my team. I kind of don't, but my team would have been sick, man. Anyhow, let's talk about Marshawn Lynch, man, the return of the beast. I was off Marshawn a couple of years ago when he came back. I'm like, and then last year they didn't really use him the way that we thought he probably should be used until the end of the season. But and then they got, Doug Martin and Jalen Richard. And you're kind of like, okay, well, maybe they're going to phase Marshawn out. He's been nice, man. I don't care. He's been nice.
Yeah. No, he's been ridiculous, and that is actually one of my bigger regrets. You actually offered him to me. I think in both leagues that we're in together, you tried to give him to me, and I told you no. And I kind of wish I did, even though it's Dynasty. I kind of wish I went with you on those, but I am scared for him this week. The Raiders put Donald Penn on injury reserve on Tuesday, the offensive lineman. And so they will be starting 2 rookie O-linemen this week. And
it doesn't matter.
Combine that, well, But to combine that, the Chargers are returning Corey Liuget to their D-line. It's not Joey Bosa.
Yeah, no, not
definitely
even close.
not Joey Bosa.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're beefing. That D-line's getting beefed up, and I'm not. Marshawn Lynch is gonna eat. He's not gonna go down easily. Right. But I'm afraid as far as them getting back there quickly or the alignment messing up with holding. Anything.
Yeah,
I'm scared. I'm scared this week.
Yeah, and the Chargers also still have an offense. I mean, they can get up on you, and you can't keep Keenan Allen down the entire season. As long as he's healthy, at some point he's gonna break out. Is he in that elite status? Perhaps not, but you got to think they're going to score some points because the Raiders' defense is pretty bad. So this may be more of a Jalen Richard game where you don't see Marshawn Lynch get so much. But Marshawn Lynch is the unquestioned goal line back. He's getting the touchdowns in the backfield.
Definitely.
I want to see if he and Jordy can keep it rolling. And Jordy, actually, if he continues to score 10 points and above, somewhere around there, he may be the waiver wire pickup of the year, man, for me.
Oh, yeah.
I picked him up, and he's helped me out 2 weeks solid. So, no.
Yeah,
the first week I didn't get a chance
Jordy.
to play him. I set him on my bench, and he scored 30 points. Next week, got 17.
But he's looking good though. He's had an uptick from 4 targets or 8 targets in the first 2 games to 8 targets in his last
Right.
2 each. So yeah, I like the uptick of what's going on there. It's looking good.
Right. I got a quick question for you. And this is probably going to be a lot closer than most people think. Who do you want more right now? Cook from the Raiders, tight end, or Gronk? Cook is the number 1 fantasy tight end right now.
Yeah.
Now, Gronk, you can trade Gronk on his name and get a bunch of assets. I tried to trade Cook the other day. People were like, do you not know he's in? So who would you want on your team more right now, knowing Gronk with his injuries and everything else? Who do you want more?
At this moment, before seeing this week with Edelman back and everything, I would want Cook more. I would be willing to give up more for Jared Cook, but the targets are there. Derek Carr loves him. That's his safety blanket. Gronk is getting double teamed the whole time. Gronk is a beast. He's gonna give you, if he gets the chance, he's coming down with the ball. Only thing is he's not getting the chance right now. So at this very moment, if I had 2 offers on the table and they were the same for Cook or Gronk, I might take Cook at this moment. That's why another reason why I'm excited to see the game tonight with Edelman back, just to see how much that opens it up for Gronk.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to watch. Good deal. Let's go ahead and move on to the next game. And the only reason I'm mentioning this is it's the dumpster fire of the week, and I want to go ahead and quickly run through it. I'm not sure there's much to talk about here. Bills, Titans.
Right.
Outside of Corey Davis, what are you looking for here?
Oh my gosh! Yeah, real quick, when you said we were talking about this game, I was kind of like,
why?
Yeah, but yeah, man. Other than Corey Davis, I might look at Dion Lewis. I guess at this point with this game, you're kind of just picking like, here, sure. You know what I mean? So
there's people dumping Derrick Henry. I mean, is he droppable?
I see. That's one of those guys, and I was actually listening to something, and they were saying the same thing. He's one of those guys that I couldn't drop. You can't trade him. You can't play him. You don't want to drop him. And you're hoping. I wouldn't play him this game, but you're hoping. Honestly, if he can't do it to the Bills, he might be drop worthy. If you can't do it on the Bills, who are you going to do it on? But the Titans' offense is looking better. They're looking good. The defense is looking good. So the Titans might be able to, this game especially, the Titans might be able to get up on the Bills to where Henry's able to get those targets. Real quick, not necessarily for this game, but moving on, the Bills are going from bad to worse. The Micah Hyde, their safety's out. They had a backup, Raphael Bush, who was going to start in his place. He got hurt this week in practice, so they're putting a rookie safety out there. So, that's not necessarily for this game, but moving forward, the Bills they're not looking good.
It's going to get, even worse for them. Real quick, last thing on that one, over under 200 passing yards for the Bills.
Under. I'm taking the under.
Under.
The Titans defense is looking good. Yeah, I take the under. I think Josh Allen might lead the team in rush yards though.
That's a definite possibility. He does have that athletic ability to run a little bit, and unfortunately, Shady's hurt, and he has nobody really to speak of behind him. Yeah, dumpster fire of the week there. I do look for Corey Davis to do something. I really thought Calvin Benjamin was going to be a solid flex option for you, but with the quarterback and the offense, it's bad there. There need to be some wholesale changes. I don't know. Anyhow, let's go ahead and talk about our starts of the week. We'll run through that real quickly. We'll talk about our sit of the week real quickly. You're the resident expert on injuries, so we'll run through a few injuries, and then we're going to get the people out of here. Let's do that in 10 minutes. Starts of the week, I'll start it off with the quarterback. My start of the week is Derek Carr against the Chargers. Chargers defense is not what it once was. They have some injuries in the defensive backfield. Joey Bosa, as I mentioned earlier, is not there. They should have to keep up with the Chargers, and the passing game for the Raiders has come alive just a little bit here in the last week or two. So I think he may be, and again, we're doing a little bit under the radar. This is not your average. Yeah, go out there and start Pat Mahomes. I don't have to tell you to do that.
Yeah, right.
But Derek Carr, I think he should have a pretty decent week. He's definitely streamable.
Oh, would you believe me if I told you stole mine?
Oh, did I snipe you? This is my first snipe on Dave. I haven't gotten him yet.
Yeah, you got me. So I guess if I had to pick another under-the-radar guy, I would take a flyer on Blake Bortles.
Okay.
He hasn't looked terrible this year. The Chiefs' defense isn't very good. We kind of already talked about that, so I won't get in too deep about it, but I think Blake Bortles is a good streaming option this week.
Good deal. Who's your running back?
I like Kerryon Johnson this week for the Detroit Lions going against Green Bay. The only issue I have
but Blunt, though.
I think I like Kerryon more than the Lions like Kerryon. Like,
you definitely like him a lot more than Matt Patricia. I'll tell you that now.
Yeah. And it's obvious that Kerryon is the best running back there, and he's getting it done. But they want to give it to Blunt. They want to feed Blunt. So yeah, I like Kerryon. I just wish the Lions would like him. And real quickly, I like Mark Ingram too. His first week back. I'm on the teams I have him on. I'm starting them against the Redskins. I know the worry there is that that's a Monday night game. Do I really want to wait and put Mark Ingram in and wait all week for Monday just to see him not perform? I get that, but I like Mark.
Yeah, you got to put him in there. I'm interested to see his role when he comes back, if he comes right back to his full workload. But a lot of people don't know that he is heavily involved in the passing game as well.
Right.
He's not one of those just first and second down. They will keep him in there on third down. So again, I was never quite all that high on Ingram until I really took a look into his stats. He's been solid year in and year out, and hopefully coming off of the suspension, he'll provide some fantasy pop and perhaps start to limit Kamara a little bit so my regression analysis at the beginning of the year will come to fruition and I can take my apology back.
Yeah.
So we'll see. All right, I got two for running back real quickly, and I won't jump too deeply into each of them. But David Johnson. Now it's kind of funny to think of David Johnson as an under the radar candidate for a start of the week, but he hasn't been on fire this year. Everyone knows that. Had an okay game last game, but he's going against my San Francisco 49ers, who stop no one. And I think that the Cardinals are possibly realizing they need to lean on David Johnson a little bit more. They have a new quarterback back there, in Josh Rosen, who seems to maybe be providing a bit of a spark for the offense. Maybe we should open up some more lanes for David Johnson. And again, it's going against San Francisco, who I have that's my account, so I can talk bad about them. I don't think they're going to be able to stop him. And the reason I made this is a dual start of the week is on the other side, Matt Breida. I think you go ahead and start him as well. The Cardinals haven't stopped anyone this year. Check this out. When they played Washington, Adrian Peterson went off for 96 yards and a touchdown. They played LA Rams, Gurley 3 touchdowns. When they played Seattle, Mike Davis 101 yards, 2 touchdowns. I'll roll Reed out there against Cardinals all
Yeah. My gosh. Yeah, I didn't even know all that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good play. Start of the week. Who do you have for wide receiver?
Yeah, well, we talked about both of them already, so I'll just mention them again. I like Zach Pascal tonight against the Patriots, and I like Jordy Nelson with the uptick that he's been getting. Yeah, I like him against the Chargers.
You're making me, well, he's on my bench this week, but I feel good about that. I would really like to see him continue to roll. He will be another flex option I have in that league where I was kind of really scrounging around for who's going to be my flex between Calvin Benjamin and Ryan Grant and stuff like that. I would love for me to be a mainstay with Edelman coming back. Speaking of Edelman, he's my wide receiver start of the week. I just think Brady is can't wait to see him on the field again to get his guy back, who they have that chemistry. Brady knows where this guy's going to be. He knows what Brady wants. I mean, you would think that Hogan being there in the slot, and I heard a stat from one of another podcast here today, Hogan played 60% in the slot. And for him not to get the targets out of the all slot receivers get targets. I mean, I don't understand that.
Right.
How he couldn't get the targets. But I think that came from the comfort level of Brady and Hogan. They don't have that connection like Edelman. And I think Edelman gets right back in there, and Brady probably can't wait to throw him the ball. So I think he will be the start of the week for the wide receiver. For tight end, going with Jordan Reed, I think that I've always thought that Smith loves his tight end, and this is going to be a game where they can get him the ball and get him going.
Yeah, I actually like Jordan Reed too, so you kind of sniped me.
Twice?
I like Jordan Reed a lot. Yeah, got me twice in the same one. I like Jimmy Graham a lot this week, more than usual. With Devontae Adams came up with a calf injury this week with practice. Randall Cobb's probably not going to go. Geronimo Allison is not going to go with his concussion. So the targets have got to go somewhere, and I think that we will see an uptick with Jimmy Graham against that Detroit defense. I like Jimmy a lot.
Yeah, what do you think, speaking of, I mean, we get ready to get into the injury segment, and I was going to mention this, but since we just brought it up here, these Green Bay wide receivers are torn down, man. I mean, you got Devontae Adams going down with the calf here today, and I'm not sure. My inclination is he's going to be ready for the game. They're going to get him ready for the game. That they're just resting him to make sure he is okay. But let's say he can't go. Scantling is your number one receiver. Do you roll him out there? I mean, why not? You got Aaron Rodgers,
right? This is one of those times where no.
Oh, wow.
I couldn't do it. Yeah. I don't know how much I trust in Scantling going against, and the Lions by far not a tremendous defense, but going against Darius Slay, I know they won't be seeing him all game, but I like Jimmy Graham more. I like Ty Montgomery more. I think he'll be used more in the passing game with these guys out. So yeah, but I don't think I would be confident enough to roll Scantling out.
Okay, all right. Go ahead with your defense.
My surprising for me, and as much as I hate to say this because I hate the Cowboys, but I like the Cowboys defense this week going against Houston. Houston's just, their O-line is not the best. We've seen that all year. Cowboys are getting David Irving back, one of the really good D linemen. They're still missing Sean Lee, but that secondary looks good. Their defense looks better than it has been, so I like Dallas defense this week.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting game. We got Kiki Cootie coming out and showing that he can be a real force in the Texans' offense. Fuller is being limited with a hamstring, I do believe, and you're probably going to mention that in a minute. But if they're all a go, I don't know. I guess we'll have to see what the Cowboys can do with that. I mean, you still got Deshaun Watson back there, and he's a dynamic playmaker. That'll be interesting to watch the Cowboys there. So we'll see. My defense was the Bengals. I would go with them this week. They are up against. off the top of my head. It's Miami. Miami, the Dolphins.
Yeah.
And we spoke about this our last episode, where it's like Adam Gase does not know who his best player is and won't give his best player on offense the ball. You got Publius Parker, who may or may not play. He may not be on the field, so you're basically left with Gore. That's your playmaker. I don't know what they're doing there in Miami. If they can't figure out that they need to get the ball in Drake's hand 20-plus times a game until the passing game gets it together, then I don't think that offense is going to be anything worth even mentioning. So I think the Bengals can do well because the Bengals can score points. And if you can't keep up with them through the air, which I don't think Miami can, what are they going to do? And I don't know if they can slow it down enough because they don't run the ball if they're supposed to slow the game down. So I got the Bengals this week. I think they're a great play.
Yeah, no, that was one of the teams I was actually deciding between them and Dallas. I love the Bengals this week. They actually get Vontaze Burfict back this week from suspension,
okay.
So that's just going to put the Bengals defense up even more. If you've seen that guy play, he is. He's out of his mind, but if he could play the whole game,
without getting a personal foul and getting kicked out. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you remember last year when Juju blindsided him?
Laid him out.
I was like, Juju. First off, great hit, but secondly, when you guys play the next game, just fake an injury. Just don't go out there because he is going to get you back. And I don't think it happened, but I thought he would be crazy to go after that dude, man.
I was surprised when he did it at first, and I know we're gonna try to fly through this, so I'll be quick. But when he first did it, I was like, man, he laid that guy out, and then I noticed who it was, and I said,
oh no,
I don't know if that was the best decision. Like, you're a rookie, and I get that, but somebody talk to this guy.
Yeah, sit him down and give him the personnel layout. That's not the dude you want to blindside, but no, good fun. All right, man, we got our sit of the week. One sit from each of us, and then we're going to talk about the injuries and get the people out of here. Who's your sit of the week?
Yeah, I'm sitting Russell Wilson this week, going against the Rams defense. I am not confident at all in Russell Wilson. That defense is hellacious. They're going to get after him. The offense is just not good enough around Russell Wilson to give him what he needs, even with Doug Baldwin coming back. I don't want to roll Russell Wilson out this week.
What about Nick Vannett, man?
Yeah. That Rams defense is hellacious, and
yeah. I was thinking the same thing. I mean, on one hand, you're thinking the Rams offense has been so good. Russell Wilson's going to have to do it, man. He's going to have to pass the ball a ton, but even when he's had to pass the ball a ton, it just hasn't really come together for him. And I have him in a league or two, actually. I think maybe one league. And a lot of times I like to get my quarterback. I like to get a solid quarterback pretty early, round 5, round 6. And a lot of times I had to choose between him and Cam Newton. And I'm glad that I went Cam Newton more than Russell this year because it's been really bad. So good deal. My sit of the week, actually talking about the Panthers, is Devin Funchess. He's had some drops. He's not the athlete of athletes. Just a really big guy. And he is Cam Newton's top target, but he's going against the Giants. And before you laugh, Giants actually have a decent pass defense. Check this out. Against the Jags, they held the Jaguars to a total of 176 yards passing. Against Houston, they actually kept Nuke down to 86 yards and no touchdowns. And by no means is that, it's still an okay game, but we know Nuke can go off for 150 and 2 touchdowns. So they've done a pretty good job of keeping the opposing team's top option in check. And I think that that Funch is a definite sit for me this week.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that one. If you were thinking about rolling him out, I think this might be his last good week. If you're going to, I agree with you to sit him But with Greg Olsen was practicing in shells today. Looks like he's going to be trying to give it a go next week. And I think once Olsen gets back, those targets fall from Funchess. So, this might be.
Yeah. Not to mention that New York basically, for fantasy purposes, blanked Michael Thomas. He had 8 fantasy points.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, yeah. Definitely.
Good deal.
Funchess.
All right, so let's run through a few injuries. Again, you're the resident injury expert, so I'll let you start off, man. We got a few here you want to talk about?
Yeah, I'll just fly through a couple big ones that I saw. I won't get too in detail. Julio didn't practice yesterday with a hand and ankle injury. I don't know if that's anything to necessarily be crazy about, just something to monitor. Alex Collins didn't practice yesterday. He also did not, or he was limited yesterday. He did not practice today, but they said that today was just precautionary. They want him to be ready to go Sunday, so we might be good there. Joe Mixon returned to practice. Gio Bernard is actually got held out, so that's also something to
I'm
monitor.
hearing that Gio may be out, like he may not play next game. In one of my leagues where I have a short bench, I had to make some decisions. Gio actually went to the waiver wire. I really hated to do that. I wanted to see one more week and see what would have happened. But with that news, that Mixon, they're saying Mixon's 100%. As long as he's clear, he's going. And with Gio not practicing, I may go. I went ahead and put him on waivers. I did pick up Mark Walton in one of my leagues, though. He may end up being valuable if Gio is out for any extended period of time. Mark Walton could prove to be a pretty good asset. Just my last two. Dalvin Cook didn't practice today, still going with that hamstring, so I'm not rolling him out anyway. Will Fuller expects to play Sunday, but right now it's just him expecting it. Haven't really heard the coaches say anything. So if you want to go off of word of mouth, you can go off of that. And last but not least, Alshon Jeffrey had a chest injury, did not practice yesterday, but he did practice today. Absolutely. Yeah, I got a couple more. O.J. Howard, as you guys probably know, is out. And with Winston coming back, and they're on bye this week, so maybe perhaps by next week news on O.J. Howard is different. But with the return of Winston, Brate's stock and capital has gone up, so get Brate off your waiver wire. Curtis Samuel is returning to the Panthers from an irregular heartbeat. Yeah, I don't know if I had an irregular heartbeat if I'd be playing any football. As a matter of fact, don't call, don't text, don't write. Nobody get me excited.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not even watching an action flick. I'm like watching documentaries on National Geographic. I don't want to see anything exciting. Get my heart rate up. And on the defensive side, Eli Apple looks to be coming back, and I hope he does, for the Giants because he sucks. And I really want to see Jarius Wright burn him all game long. So that'll be fun. Anyhow, listen, we're going to get the folks out of here. I want to thank you guys for listening again. Sorry this show went a little bit longer than anticipated, but we appreciate you guys, certainly. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Answer the we don't have the question yet. We're going to have the question on Monday, so come back on Tuesday for the new question of the week. Be the first to answer it correctly, and you will get those delicious Hers Creamy Ranch habanero chips. Once again, if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. Dave, do you have anything else for the people tonight?
Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your football.
Have a good night, guys. Bye now.